Hey guys, thank you for checking out Horror Movie Night. We are kind of in the middle of revamping the Patreon account a little bit, but we hit 100 episodes. This is episode 101. It is the last episode before our official 2-year anniversary, and it is just a couple days away from 4th of July. So that means only one thing. We're not going to get to talk about the 4th of July movie that I wanted to talk about, which is Uncle Sam. But we are going to talk about I Know What You Did Last Summer. This was Scott's insistence on avoiding Uncle Sam at all costs.
You're welcome, by the way, because that movie fucking blows.
Oh, because I Know What You Did Last Summer was really knocking it out of the park when I was watching it also.
Hey, guys, can we save this conversation for about 365 days from now?
Yeah, when we watch Uncle Sam and then make a decision.
God, 13-year-old me who watched Uncle Sam and was nonplussed is just screaming inside my body right now, no, don't make me do this again.
Yeah, but sometimes the movie that you hated as a kid, you watch as an adult, and you're like, "Oh, that was fun." I mean, Uncle Sam's most certainly not going to be that. Uncle Sam's a pile of shit.
Hey, guys, we should probably roll that intro.
All right, so here we go. We're going to talk about I Know What You Did Last Summer. It's a film that a couple weeks ago we talked about American Werewolf in Paris and how that was one of those films that pretty much every horror fan in their early 30s, late 20s saw. This is definitively one of the horror movies if you were in your late 20s or early 30s right now saw. It was kind of unavoidable. I'm pretty sure it was the first Scream, continuation of the Scream explosion.
Kevin Williamson wrote it, right?
Yeah, he actually wrote it before Scream. This was his first.
Which explains why it's awful.
Yeah.
God.
Well, and it's based on a Lewis Duncan book or something like that. But she's completely abandoned this project. Does not want anything to do with it.
It was a mystery. It was a mystery thriller, and they turned the movie into a total just slasher, which I guess she was not very happy with.
Apparently, according to IMDb, she was really not happy that it was turned into a slasher because her daughter was murdered a few years earlier.
Oh, fuck.
So, not exactly the genre she wanted her writing to go into, I believe. Then again,
people die in the book, though. Whatever.
Oh my god. That's so expensive. Holy shit.
So this movie kicks off with a cover that could only exist in 1997, which is Typo Negative covering Summer Breeze.
Are you saying that it could only exist in 1997 because Michael Steele's dead?
Well, no, I was saying it could only exist in 1997 because that was that hot spot in Typo Negative's career where they had a couple songs on the radio.
Yeah, but here's the thing. Best soundtrack of late 90s horror right here.
I don't know. I'm still pushing for American Werewolf in Paris.
Says the guy who even shared with the group Smooth Diamonds. Even saying is embarrassing. God.
Smooth Diamond seems like someone who would have been at that party that Flava Flav held in season 2 of Flavor of Love.
Yeah,
the one girl in that show had a speech impediment, and that's how she would say "smooth diamond" if she was saying it.
So I absolutely forgot about the first minute of this movie. I have no memory whatsoever of this guy sitting on the rocks at all.
Here's what I remembered of the movie. The line, if you're going to leave someone for dead, make sure they're actually dead. And that was the only thing that I remembered from this movie. So I managed to spoil the ending for myself while completely forgetting everything else that happened.
Yeah, I absolutely, I think I wrote that down. Yeah, one of my notes says, I genuinely forget who the killer is in this movie. So, like, I was, like, sitting there like, yeah, it's that kid from the beginning. He's the one that they hit, right? And, like, just kind of was thrown off by all of that. So, you know, we hear this sweet cover of Summer Breeze from a voice that only Michael Steele can produce.
I think it's Peter Steele. I said it wrong. Sorry.
Oh, sorry. Summer breeze makes me feel right.
But I just have to admit to you guys that was one of my favorite songs to play when I discovered drop D tuning on guitar.
I believe that. Do you remember
yeah.
that Typo Negative song, My Girlfriend's Girlfriend? Because that's the only other song by them I know.
Yeah, who doesn't remember My Girlfriend's Girlfriend? That song was very confusing to 12-year-old me. I think I was about 12 when I first heard that song, because I was like, how does his girlfriend have a girlfriend? Is he talking about her friend? Wow, I was
buddy.
so sheltered.
My
I don't know. I watched a lot
buddy.
of Jerry. So.
Yeah.
This soundtrack, I will say, this soundtrack does have a lot of good tracks on it, though, because it does have that sweet cover of Hush, and the next
is Hush a cover?
Yeah, it's a song from Deep Purple from like the 60s or 70s.
Oh, okay, because that Kula Shaker song rules.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, Matt Kelly loves the shit out of the soundtrack because there's a Korn B-side on it.
Yeah. Well, you know what my favorite song on the soundtrack is what comes up next in the movie, Southern Culture on the Skids doing My Baby's Got the Strangest Ways. Dude, that band was the shit.
Yeah, that band was amazing.
And they actually appear in the movie. I forgot that they're in it.
Yeah, I forgot that too. The best part about that is everybody's singing along with Southern Culture on the Skids. It really breaks my suspension of disbelief because no one fucking knew who they were.
Unless they were playing Camel Walk.
No, this was a much bigger song than that.
They were big enough that Weird Al did a style parody of them on one of his newer albums, which shows how with the times Al's been lately.
Yeah, I was about to say, Al's really digging the bottom of the barrel for that.
He's going for those deep, deep cuts.
So we see this dude. He's sitting on a like cliff face, staring down at the ocean, and he's like just staring at like a necklace thing. And then all of a sudden, there's fireworks, and we're seeing Sarah Michelle Gellar win like a beauty contest, and immediately we're reminded how 90s this cast is.
Oh my god, this cast it makes my life. I fucking love this cast. It's so, as bad as this movie is, I will defend this movie and my quasi picking of it because it is thoroughly entertaining. It's trash. Like, I know this movie's trash, but I mean, you got Jennifer Love Hewitt, we got Sarah Michelle Gellar, and we got Freddie Prinze Jr., we got Ryan Phillippe.
Who's the worst of the four? He is the worst actor of the four, and his character is annoying as fuck. But
everything he does in this movie is stupid and makes no sense, and he can go right to hell.
Yeah.
But the thing is that the best part about it is that it predates Cruel Intentions by 2 years. It's like Bizarro, Sarah Michelle Gellar, and Ryan Phillippe, where they actually have sex. Which was blowing my mind when I was watching it. But I love how Jennifer Love Hewitt is this goody-goody survivor girl in this, but they keep commenting about how gigantic her tits are.
Yeah.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. They're talking about Sarah Michelle Gellar's boobs. And I'm like, Jennifer Love Hewitt's right fucking there, and her boobs are twice as big. Also, for being the goody-goody survivor girl, she picks the most ludicrous outfits that absolutely show off her figure.
So I do have a note, since you're bringing it up anyway, but it says, how and why did we allow overalls to be acceptable on 18-year-olds? Like, what the hell were we thinking in 1997? Because it's not just this movie. It was in a lot of things circa this time. Like, I'm pretty sure Allison Hannigan wore overalls through, like, the first 4 seasons of Buffy.
I have a couple pictures. I have a couple pictures of me in 1997 wearing overalls.
Because Adam's a decade younger than me. You were like fucking 6 when this movie came out.
Yeah, I know. So it was appropriate and cute that I was wearing overalls. I don't know why anybody else was doing it.
Hi, I'm cute little baby Adam pre-trauma. Look at my cute Oshkosh Bagosh overalls and my rosy cheeks.
So I have to say also, this isn't. I'm not going to really bring this up as what did I watch this week, but this week I also watched the movie Down to You featuring Freddie Prinze Jr. And
Nice.
I gotta say, I forgot that dude is charming as fuck. Like he is like he is just so charming in every movie, and I completely forgot about it. And like I don't know what happened to him. Like he got married to Sarah Michelle Gellar. He wrote for the WWE for a couple of years, and then he disappeared off the planet. And I think that that's really weird.
Well, I mean, it's probably for the best because Hollywood chews you up and spits you out. But like I told this story on the group. I'd like to rehash it here. I saw this movie, I want to say January or February of 1998, actually, because it came out, I think it came out fall of 1997, which makes no sense. Or maybe it was July, but that it doesn't seem like I would have missed seeing this before the spring of 1998, but that was the spring of my freshman year of high school. And this show. So if anybody doubts my horror pedigree, this is my gigantic fuck you to them. I saw Scream when I was in 8th grade when it was new, and was so obsessed with it that I was hell-bent on growing my hair out like Skeet Ulrich, all right?
Yeah.
And so I've got like this parted down the middle, awful bullshit that I'm trying to grow out to my shoulders so that I can slick it back. It's a terrible decision. My hair is far too thick and far too wavy to get the Skeet Ulrich, Billy Loomis comb back. So I'm like, okay, fuck that. I just watched I Know What You Did Last Summer, and I can't grow my hair any longer without going insane. I'm going to cut my hair like Freddie Prinze Jr. And I kept that hair like that for the rest of high school and most of college. Like I had the spiky hair with the short sides.
Oh, I've seen the pictures.
Thanks to this movie.
You still occasionally wear that hairstyle, Scott.
No, my hair is way longer now. I mean, like I do the Kaiser Wilhelm thing, but I just wanted to point out the fact that I've been so painfully influenced by horror movies for my entire life.
For better, but mostly for worse. From the sounds of it.
Are you trying to say that those haircuts didn't get me laid?
I'm trying to say you post the pictures of you with that haircut, and I'll post the pictures of me in the Oshkosh Bagosh fucking overalls, okay?
Don't tempt me, brah.
So let's talk about the movie again.
Are we actually supposed to talk about the movie?
Yeah. So they get drunk. Well, Ryan Phillippe gets drunk. Freddie Prinze Jr. is trying to drive Ryan's car. He spills a bunch of booze all over the place, and they hit someone in the middle of the road. And this dude fucking rolls up the car and smashes into Ryan Phillippe's face, and he looks still fairly unscathed from it, which is fucking mind-blowing.
Can you imagine getting hit doing 60 miles an hour by a 220-pound man? That would be
but then they decide that they've killed the guy, and they're going to dump the carcass in the nearby water, and the dude's still alive. And then as he falls to the bottom of the water, he grabs Sarah Michelle Gellar's crown, so they have to go back in and get that out of his hand, because it's obviously evidence that they're the ones that dumped him. And cool as a cucumber, this guy is just eyes open, just chilling at the bottom of the ocean.
That is equally the best and worst part of this film. I would argue. You missed one little, just tiny little detail that I wanted to point out.
Johnny Galecki.
Did you catch the name of the beach that Jennifer
Dawson's Beach?
Yes. God.
Yeah, I noticed that too.
So then we jump a year in advance. They've made an agreement that they will never speak of this again. And Jennifer
I wasn't
Love.
kidding. You forgot the fact that Johnny Galecki simply drives by the accident, which apparently warrants his vicious murder later in this movie.
Yeah, actually, of everyone that gets killed, I think he's the only innocent person. Honestly, like everybody else that dies is complicit, at least, if not an antagonist to the deceased. So, but then poor little, like, I'm trying to figure out I'm trying to come up with a name for the archetype for that character, but he's just kind of like this weird loser, just kind of this friend-zoned Jennifer Love Hewitt, wanna bang.
I believe his name is Short-Lived Red Herring, is his full name in the movie. Adam
likes that just a lot.
So it's like heavily implied that Boston's fairly far away from where Jennifer Love Hewitt is lives. They never really established where do they live. Like, have they established where Dawson's Beach is, like what state or whatever?
I honestly assumed it was all in Massachusetts because Kevin Williamson can't write himself out of a box except for when he wrote Scream.
Okay, just check, because I was like, man, like if they're implying that like she's going to this college that's so far away that like her and Freddie Prinze Jr. can't deal with the distance, like where the fuck is her roommate going that she can just like drop her off on her way home for the summer?
Okay, here's the thing, Matt. I don't know if you had a high school girlfriend that you like had to get broken up with.
Look who you're talking to. I didn't even have a college girlfriend that I had to break up with. Let's keep on moving.
Jesus. Oh man, it's brutal. More brutal than a fish hook through the neck. So I did. I had my heart ripped out of my chest by my high school girlfriend. I mean, it was a nothing relationship, but that's the thing is like none of these relationships fucking matter at the time. They seem like they're the be all end all. So my guess is that she went to a college that was like an hour away and used it as an excuse to get away from Freddie Prinze Jr. One, because she was like, well, he was a really shitty lay, because they were both virgins. But second of all, because, you know, the whole we killed a man together thing.
Yeah, I mean, I get that that's a bigger portion of it, but even before they've killed a man together, she's already like, yeah, it sucks that we have to go away. So they come back. They're all back for the summer. Most of their lives...
Well, some of them didn't ever leave.
Yeah, I was going to say, most of their lives didn't really pan out too well. And immediately, Jennifer Love Hewitt is receiving the title card to the movie in the mail, and that's when they immediately suspect the kid from Roseanne and Big Bang Theory, and that's when he gets a hook to the face, which is probably the best death in the movie, because it is fucking brutal. It's the most brutal death in this movie.
I agree, but I feel I guess I feel bad for him, but I really think that, and this is super funny, if you think about it, that the best actual death, like not just the kill, but the actual death scene, is Sarah Michelle Gellar. So they knew that she had the chops because I'm assuming she'd been on Buffy for at least a couple seasons by the time this movie was filming, at least a season. And so they were like, okay, you know, we didn't put you as a survivor girl, but we're going to give you the best death that goes on for 7 minutes.
I feel like I feel like that was her horror movie MO, though, was that she was like a television survivor girl and like always died in all the other movies, because she also dies in Scream 2.
But Scream 2 is super meta, so I don't even count her death as like I don't know.
All right.
I don't count it. So, but yeah, I feel the most empathy for her death. But you're right, the fish hook through the face, getting pulled across. Well, also, like, how, you know, we have this conversation whenever we watch a fucking slasher flick. You know, the slashers, the killers in slasher flicks have to clean up everything so that nobody catches them as they're going on their murder spree that spans days or weeks or fucking years.
Yeah.
And no one can find them because, you know, there is no such thing as a forensic investigator in these towns. But, like, he dragged that poor man's face across a hot chum tub and put blood all over everything. Did he come back and he's, like, wiping it down in his gigantic suit.
rain slicker.
Yeah. Well, he also held on to the body for a couple days so that he could stash it in a trunk, and then immediately
and
steal
how
it
does he get
back.
out of the trunk and all those crabs. Like I know that this
and
is
when they
these
come
are-
back. When they came back, the trunk wasn't even wet or like anything. It looked like nothing had ever been in that trunk.
Yeah. I know that it's because they're trying to like make commentary about horror slasher movie tropes in this, because Kevin Williamson can't contain his boner long enough to tell a good story. It has to be a meta story. But it really is annoying in this film. I mean, I enjoy this movie because I watched it when I was at a formative age. Like, I enjoyed the hell out of rewatching it. I probably enjoyed it more this time than the 3 or 4 other times I've watched it in my life, because I'm more nostalgic now for the times when my hair wasn't falling out. So, I don't know. I'm not a good objective person to be having a conversation with about I Know What You Did Last Summer, because I had a blast watching it, even though I know it's just shit.
Yeah. No, and I even have a note where I said, like, this movie is slower than I remember it. Like, it has these moments, and then there is just fucking filler. And that filler is called hanging out with Anne Heche as she drops information like it's nothing time. Because, like...
Yeah, Ms. Exposition.
Yeah, like
This exposition that goes nowhere and means nothing to the rest of the plot of the movie, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just another red herring.
But she's just there. She's literally there dropping information, not knowing she's being... Like, she doesn't realize that she's being interrogated by these girls, and she's dropping information like she's been being interrogated for, like, a decade.
Oh, just don't hurt me any longer, please.
Yeah, like, she's just like, okay, your brother dies, right? Unexpectedly, and... you have 2 random strangers come to your house and, like, make a vague comment about maybe remembering your brother's one friend, and then you're just like, well, there was that guy, Joe. Him and I were lovers for a while. He got scared of me. He ran off. Also, my brother committed suicide. He wasn't murdered. Anyway, T...
That's not a bad impression of what happens in this film. But here's the thing, and I know I'm jumping forward a little bit here, but really this movie doesn't even care about pacing, so why should we? So Freddie Prinze Jr. was Billy Blue, right?
Yes, he was.
Billy Blue. Okay, yeah, I just wanted to confirm that. So am I to, like, based on Matt's watching of this film, and I'm not arguing the truth of this, I just want veracity here. Freddie Prinze Jr. fucked Anne Heche.
At some point,
that's what I was thinking. I was thinking about that last night, too. You kill her brother, or supposedly think that you killed her brother, come there on a guilt trip feeling bad about doing it, and then bang his sister, and then leave his sister high and dry, who seems to remember him fondly, as if she would have liked the relationship to keep going, but it never did.
You know what's the craziest thing, though? That's such a non-plot point that it is never even mentioned in the 7 paragraphs of plot on the Wikipedia page.
So here's another question that I have about the ridiculous plot here. Did you guys get this weird vibe that Freddie Prinze Jr. is supposed to be another red herring in this, where he's like, I just want us to be together, and then and it sets it up like he's gonna be the killer.
Yeah.
But then
no, it 100% is. That is fully written in, because later on when she sees him on the boat, it says baby or whatever, Billy Blue on the side of the boat, and then she begins running away from him. So for about 45 seconds, he is full on, we're supposed to think he's the killer.
So dumb. Like, how does Kevin Williamson go from Scream to this? And I specifically remember being so nonplussed with this shit back in 97, 98 when I saw it. Nothing? No one has any response?
I got no insight on that.
All right, well...
he went from this to Scream because he wrote this first. So he was obviously perfecting his art. I guess this was a real, like, learning ground for him, where he's like, oh, wow, what a piece of shit I made back there. I could do a lot better than that. Like,
yeah, but then he did Teaching Mrs. Tingle, which is even worse.
Yeah, Teaching Mrs. Tingle is pretty... Also based on the same author's book, which you'd think if she was disappointed by what he did with I Know What You Did Last Summer, she'd be like, stay the fuck away from my other books.
She needed that cash, man.
I have one last note, because after around this point is when the movie really started to just piece itself together. Like, it just comes. There's not much to say. They reveal who the killer is, and that's it. But I was watching this on Saturday. I was getting ready for a wedding. My brother had flown in, so he was watching it with me in the living room. And the parade scene happens, where Sarah Michelle Gellar is on the parade float, and she sees the slicker, and she points it out to Ryan Phillippe, and he starts running. And as the scene's happening, my brother just goes, "Oh, God, this scene makes me so sad." And I'm like, "Why?" And he goes, "Because this old man, like, could they have gotten a sadder, more scared old man for this guy to tackle?" And, like...
It's true.
And, like, I never thought about it. And then he tackles him, and, God, that dude just looks... like he's pissed his pants. Like, it is so unfortunately sad.
That's the point, though. I'm pretty sure that was the point they were trying to make, was like, these people are awful and deserve to die.
But yeah, that's all I've really got left to say on this one. They, plot line wise, they figure out that the killer was it Ben Willis, and he essentially he killed the person who they thought that they killed, because he had been in a car. There was like a car accident, and his daughter died. So this was a revenge killing a year later. And then they hit him with the car, but he wasn't dead yet. So now he's seeking vengeance on them. Which, side note, like, fucking stupid idea. You've got people who are literally covering up your murder for you. Like, why would you...
And then you're like,
at the end, he's like, "Oh, what? You think it's okay? You think you could just get away with murder?" And it's like, well, you did. Why couldn't we? Fuck this guy. He's so judgmental. That's
not only
exactly
did they got away with murder, and we're covering up his murder. He should be beyond thankful and never interfere with their life so that he continues to be scot-free in this situation. And this is one of those fucking franchises. Did Kevin Williams write the sequel? Because it has the same shit that Scream sequels have, where it's like, the killer is the son of Ben Willis. Like, fucking, are you kidding me? This is bullshit. It's so
I don't know if he wrote the sequel, but it was so bad that I would not be surprised. So I only have one actual relevant comment that we haven't kind of touched on. You missed one super sweet song in the soundtrack, The Offspring's song DUI.
Yeah, DUI is a pretty great.
That song rolls. But also, this is a better boat chase than Jason Takes Manhattan. So this movie does have something going for it.
I won't take that away from it. It's not the best song that's ever been on a horror soundtrack by The Offspring, though. That will go to Idle Hands. Right,
Idle Hands, Beheaded. But also, on the Idle Hands soundtrack, I'm pretty sure that The Offspring, and this is a funny joke that I think that you and I had a conversation about years ago in Reddit Horror Club. So in Idle Hands, Dexter Holland and the rest of The Offspring are playing the school dance because that makes sense, that you'd invite a punk band to play your fucking school dance. So they do a cover of I Want to Be Sedated because, have to have a Ramones cover in there. And then they do Beheaded, and then the possessed hand comes and rips Dexter Holland's forehead off. He's wearing an AFI t-shirt, and on the soundtrack for Idle Hands, Dexter Holland The Offspring did a cover of Total Immortal by AFI that was on the All Hallows EP, which is super weird and funny, but it also makes a whole lot of sense because Dexter Holland, I don't know if he owned Nitro Records at the time, but he eventually owned Nitro Records, which 3 or 4 of the good AFI records were released on Nitro Records, and Dexter Holland did backup vocals on like 4 songs on Black Sails in the Sunset, which is AFI's arguably their best record. So I just wanted to say all those things about AFI and Dexter Holland, but no, I would argue that their cover of AFI is a better song from a horror soundtrack than Beheaded. Oh, done.
All right. Well then.
Last thing that I want to mention about this movie. Well, two things, and one is this: at the end of the movie, the last line from the killer is, "If you're going to leave somebody for dead, at least make sure that they're dead." And then he immediately gets his hand cut off and thrown off the boat, and nobody ever finds him. No, we don't see the killer again for the rest of the movie. So
it just sets
they're
it up
really
for
not
the
taking.
sequel.
Yeah, thank you, sequel. Also, speaking of the sequel, are we ever going to do that? Because I do have a little song. I do have a little song written here about the sequel.
Oh Jesus Christ! Let's hear it. Go for it.
I was about to say, let's go under the auspice that we've put ourselves through enough pain by watching I Know What You Did Last Summer. We don't need to watch I Still Know What You Did Last Summer, even though it's in the Bahamas.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So here is a little song I wrote about. I know what you did I still know what you did last summer. Written from the perspective of Freddie Prinze Jr., who is a complete asshat that whole movie and only cares about one thing. All right. So here's a little clam I baked. Might want to eat it for the expiration date. Please, Julie, come with me. Yeah, all your friends are dead in town, but it really nice to still see you around.
What happened?
Oh, no. Can you not hear me?
I can hear you clear as day.
Oh, okay. Did I ruin Adam's take? Does he have to retake it?
No, I think that was good enough.
Please, Julie, come with me. Please, Julie, come with me now. Yeah.
Jesus
But what
Christ.
about the clam bake?
What about the fireworks factory? So, what did you guys watch this week?
As is tradition, I'll start us off, all right?
All right.
I got some shit to talk about here. Let me get my fucking list. Oh my god. So, man, I am just way ahead of our regular schedule. So I'm going to span a good amount of time with all the bullshit that I watched in the last 2 weeks. But here's the first thing. Cooties.
Mm-hmm.
Don't watch it. I'm sure Matt already owns
I
a
didn't
copy.
enjoy it either.
I haven't seen it yet. But
So it's on Shudder, and here's the problem with Shudder. Here's the best problem about Shudder. Problem number one, they let anybody write reviews. But problem number two is that sometimes the reviews are skewed in such a way where I think this movie is going to be good, and therefore I go in with high expectations. Plus, I mean, Elijah Wood did this, I believe it was what he did right after Maniac. And Maniac is one of my all-time favorite horror movies. We've talked about this ad nauseum. Everybody knows it. It's awful. Cooties is awful. It is so annoyingly dumb. And I sat through it because I had it on as, like, background noise. And I never do that with horror movies. I am, like, watching, just, absorbing whatever is going on the screen. This movie, I, like, phased in and out of paying attention for the entire hour and 30 minutes, which felt like an eternity, by the way. It's not funny. It's not clever. It's not entertaining in any way, shape, or form. And I think that the only people that actually truly enjoyed it are teenagers. Sorry, teenagers that may listen to our podcast. I'm sure that there are two of you that may listen to this and be upset, if any at all. But go watch real horror comedy that actually has a point and good writing. They wasted an entirely capable cast of people on a bullshit script that goes nowhere, that makes no sense, and is not entertaining. I'm so pissed off that I wasted my time on that movie.
And that has been Scott Rogers' Hey, fuck you, millennials corner.
But I'm a millennial! No, that was my impression of you.
You could be a self-hating millennial. That's fine. It's cool.
I am a self-hating millennial. Have you seen my haircut?
You're going for that sexy Stalin look. I know.
Yeah.
all right.
I'm about ready to join the alt-right.
All right, I'll go next. I watched an absolutely awful movie called Ghoulies 4. which
Wait, what's the subtitle for that?
there is none. It is just Ghoulies 4. It is mostly a collection of footage from other Ghoulies movies. And it involves some type of weird dominatrix-style witch who accidentally brings 2 jive-talking ghoulies into the world.
Oh.
And they just roam around making mischief. It's horrendous. The fact that this is available on DVD, but the only way you can see Ghoulies 3, Ghoulies Go to College, is to buy an 8-pack DVD set, is devastating. Because Ghoulies 3 is way better, and it has Matthew Lillard. So stay away from Ghoulies 4, but definitely check out Ghoulies 3, Ghoulies Go to College. All right, Adam.
I didn't know that Matthew Lillard was in part 3. I've been putting off watching it because I need to go find my 8-pack.
Well, he's in it in the sense that he's a frat boy who I think has a line in the movie.
You just sold it for me. You're not are there any boobs in it?
I don't remember that much, but I do know that the main villain in this movie is the original Gomez Addams.
Oh, well, sold.
Yeah.
Let's just run down the list. RuPaul's Drag Race, American Gods. American Gods is picking up, getting even better every single fucking episode. Silicon Valley is apparently losing TJ Miller next season. I don't even know how you have a fucking show without that guy. He is the comedic relief in that show. Everybody else is pretty funny too, but I just don't understand how they're planning to do that. And then I also watched a little show called VH1's I Love Money.
My God.
Which falls under the same umbrella as Flavor of Love and Rock of Love and all that. They're bringing back former contestants from all these shitty VH1 shows and just doing away with the whole premise of finding love and all that bullshit and making them compete in humiliating tasks for money. So if you thought VH1 couldn't dig any deeper, man, they found a way.
But Jesus Christ, it's at that point where you're just do you even feel sorry for these people anymore? Because, they clearly just want to be famous for the sake of being famous. If they've been on enough reality shows.
When did I ever have an ounce of sympathy for these people? Never. Not once.
I would say in the season...
The girl that shit on the floor.
No.
The girl that shit on the floor, I felt bad for.
The girl with bad breath on Flavor of Love Season 3, you seem to feel bad that she couldn't get work anymore.
She was a real bitch on the show, though, so whatever.
Adam, you get stuck in a house with fucking Flava Flav, and you see how much of a bitch you are.
Yeah, that's true. That's absolutely true. I'd be eating shit just so my breath smelled bad, so he'd stay away from me.
He'd be like, reminds me of my home. Under a bridge.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry, he's not a troll, he's a gremlin, right?
He's a gremlin, he's a golem, he's a troll, he's a whatever you need him to be.
He's, remember that song, Bitch, from the 90s?
I'm a troll, I'm a gremlin, I'm a golem.
I'm a goblin.
I'm glad that you guys appreciated that.
I want us to write that full song now.
I will do a lot of demeaning shit to myself for the podcast, but I honestly won't spend time to do that.
Well, that was I Know What You Did Last Summer from 1997. Not really picked by anybody. I guess Scott, technically. Anyway.
No, not technically.
Thank you guys for listening. I hope you guys have a great 4th of July if you're from the States. Jesus Christ. And keep your eyes and ears peeled because sometime during the next week, you are going to see another best of episode dropping, summing up some of our favorite moments over the last year. So keep your ears peeled. There's plenty of fun stuff going on in that. Thank you once again for all the people who participated in the Twitter takedown last week. We hope that you guys enjoy the next year just as much as the last two. Don't forget to go and rate, review, and subscribe and all of that good stuff. Find us on Facebook. And we have a website now. The website is up and running as of this time, so you guys should absolutely be checking that out because our good guy out there, Stephen
M. Bay.
Yeah, he put a lot of work into building that beautiful site for all y'all. And also, I just once again want to give a quick shout-out to one of our biggest fans, Rudy, who set up a fucking PlayStation 4 group for Horror Movie Night fans, so that if you guys are on PlayStation 4, it was specifically based around the Friday the 13th game, but if you're playing the Friday the 13th game and you want to jump in on a game and play with a group of people listening to the podcast and, you know, make references to episodes towards each other, he's made that page for you. So go and check that out. That's super awesome of him to help us out with that. So kudos. Thank you, Rudy, for that. You guys got anything else before we wrap this up?
You can find us on Twitter at HMN Podcast. You can find me at Life is Sublime, Matt at St. Mort, and Scott at Fack Duke. Again, thank you everybody that participated in the Twitter takedown. Thank you, Rudy. Thank you, Steven. And Scotty, what about you? What you got for us?
Did we? I zoned out for a second thinking about the outfits of the leading ladies in I Know What You Did Last Summer. Did we say what our actual URL is?
I don't have it, and
I have it.
Oh wait, for the website or for the place? Oh yeah, I think I said it, but you can say it too.
It's hmnpodcast.com. So go check it out. As we said, Steven he went above and beyond.
All right, guys, thanks for listening.
You're listening to the Geekscape Network.